Okay, so what if the future, the one we all talk about, isn't decades away? What if it's arriving way, way sooner than almost anyone thinks? Today, we're going to get inside the mind of Dario Amodei. He's the CEO of the AI powerhouse Anthropic, and he's got this startling prediction, a belief that a technological shift is coming so fast, it's basically leaving everyone, even people deep in the industry, in the dust.
All right, let's just jump right in. Amodei's big idea is this. We're not just on some steady curve of progress. Nope, he thinks we are right at the very, very end of a massive exponential leap. And that final jump, the one that changes literally everything, is happening way faster than we realize. He calls it the end of the exponential.
And here's where it gets kind of wild. Amodei says it's absolutely wild how little the public, and even the media, gets this. It's like while we're all busy talking about the daily headlines, the actual foundation of our world is shifting under our feet at this breakneck speed. There's this huge, gaping chasm between what's really happening on the cutting edge and what the rest of us are seeing.
So that's what we're going to unpack. We're going to dig into the powerful and surprisingly simple idea that's driving this prediction. We'll look at what it actually means for the real world, and most importantly, why Amodei is so convinced this future is just a few years away, not decades.
So where does this all come from? What's fueling this incredible conviction? Well, it's not some brand new magical algorithm. It's actually a really simple idea he's had since way back in 2017, long before this whole AI craze took off. And he calls it the big blob of compute hypothesis.
The core of this idea? It's actually pretty straightforward. Amodei is basically saying we all get way too focused on clever new tricks and fancy methods. Now, for those of you who follow this stuff, this might sound a lot like what the researcher Rich Sutton called the bitter lesson, the idea that in the long run, raw, brute force scale always beats clever human-designed algorithms. Amodei thinks real progress just comes down to a massive engineering effort focused on just a handful of key things.
And here they are. These are the ingredients. We're talking about a mind-boggling amount of computing power, just tons of high-quality data, and a simple, scalable goal. Something like predict the next word. The other stuff, like normalization, that's really just the technical plumbing to make sure the whole thing doesn't fall apart when you scale it up to an insane size. According to Amodei, this right here, this is the engine. But hold on a second. This big blob theory has one major, glaring problem. If it's all just about scale, then why are AIs so, inefficient? I mean, they need trillions of words to learn, while a human kid learns with just a tiny fraction of that. So what gives? What explains this massive difference? And you can really see the contrast here, can't you? On one side, you have the AI just gulping down this absolute tsunami of data from the entire internet. And on the other, you've got the tiny little trickle of experience a human gets. Amodei totally admits this is a real puzzle, but his perspective on it is, it's pretty mind-bending.
Here's his insight. He says we're just making the wrong comparison. Training an AI from scratch isn't like teaching a child. No, it's much more like recreating the entire process of evolution. Think about it. The AI starts as a complete blank slate. It has to learn all the fundamental rules of the world, what scientists call priors that our brains just get for free, baked in from millions of years of natural selection. It's like it has to build its own hardware and software at the same time.
Okay, so if that's the process, what's the end game? What happens when this massive scaling effort reaches its peak? Let's switch gears from the theory and look at the real-world impact Amodei's predicting. And honestly, it's a vision that changes pretty much everything. He calls it a country of geniuses in a data center. Just try to imagine that. Imagine having access to a whole nation's worth of the smartest experts, scientists, and engineers, all available in the cloud. He's about 90% sure that's happening within a decade. But his personal hunch, his gut feeling, that's where things get absolutely shocking.
1 to 3 years. That's his 50-50 bet. This isn't some sci-fi prediction for our grandkids. This is a forecast for the next 36 months. A timeline like that completely reframes the entire AI conversation from a what if to a what do we do right now. And look, this isn't just about some abstract, super smart computer. Amodei is predicting that within this incredibly short window, AI is going to be able to automate the entire software engineering process. And I don't mean just helping write a bit of code. I mean the whole shebang, from the initial design document all the way to final deployment. Now, a country of geniuses in 1 to 3 years? That sounds like the world is about to change overnight, right? But this is where Amodei pulls back a little and brings in a dose of realism.
He says that while the technology's arrival will feel sudden, its actual integration into our economy will be incredibly fast, but it won't be instantaneous.
And if you want to see what fast but not instant actually looks like, you don't have to look any further than Anthropic's own revenue growth. I mean, look at that curve. It is a perfect real-world example of a steep exponential. This is a rate of change faster than any technology we've ever seen before, but it still takes time to build out.
So why the delay? Well, you can call it economic friction. Even a technology that changes the world still has to navigate the messy realities of how businesses actually work. You've got legal reviews, security approvals, those long procurement cycles, rewriting old software, not to mention just getting your staff up to speed. All these things act like a brake, slowing down what could be an instant revolution into a really rapid evolution that still takes a few years to play out.
So, let's wrap this up. Here's the big takeaway. Dario Amodei is essentially telling us that the engine of AI is way simpler and more powerful than we think, and it is getting very close to its destination, a technology that can create a country of geniuses and automate entire creative professions. That's not science fiction anymore. It's on our doorstep. So the real question isn't about the technology anymore. It's about us. Are we as a society even remotely prepared for what might be the fastest and most profound transformation in all of human history?